Hello everybody, Krydex here, and welcome back to pYanodon's Season Trace. We're having a grand old time right now. In our last episode, we got Seaweed Mark II kind of actually finished, and Mark III is researching right now. And we discovered the pYwoji turd of awesome acid, but the problem is it makes upmarking, as I'm calling it, the pYwoji really expensive. So we're going to be working on that in this episode so that we can select the turd after we've upmarked and got the, Mark II pYwoji running. It'll make Mark III and Mark IV really expensive, but it'll give us free sulfuric acid. Almost free. I mean, it's not literally free, but I mean, if we look at it, let's see, let's kind of plug it in here. So if we do sulfuric, I don't even know what this is. I'm gonna commandeer this this block. If we add sulfuric from acid gas and then we do it again, let's see. No, that's turning acid gas into sulfur. It's not what I want. Okay, so we've got two blocks here. One of them is going to be from the other recipe, which is this one. And we'll say 100, and then what have I done? There we go. Okay, and then on this one, ingredients, but we're going to be doing it from the pYwoji. So, I mean, look at the difference. Oh wait, that's not at 100. Okay, so for 100 sulfuric a second, we need the same, chemical plant processing bit, but I mean, look at that. We've got 133 refined syngas and 13 sulfur and 13 buildings versus 1.6 sulfur and 1.6 pYwoji. And 1.6 pYwoji is not really that much. I mean, even with the free recipe, that's 45 buildings of 0 input, right? I mean, and a couple buildings of spores. And that's just space, right? pYwoji doesn't take that much power. It doesn't take all that much space. They're pretty small buildings. You know what would be cool? I don't know if Hellmod could do this. What if it could tell you a footprint? Like if it knew the unit size of each building and it could then tell you how much space that would take. That would be so cool. Because I do feel like in Pi, that's actually relevant. If you're looking at like 15 reproductive complexes, that's pretty different. I mean, look, this is only 8 reproductive complexes. And that takes more space than like this entire pYwoji section of 30 pYwoji buildings. 30 pYwoji buildings take the amount of space of like 3 repro complexes. So that could be cool if Hellmod could do that. Anyway, I'm digressing hard. I want to get back to looking at this. So, but we're about to have pYwoji Mark II, first of all. And the acidosis, we would be having that module too, probably. So I'm not going to worry about that. That's only a 10% difference. And this is just the free recipe. If we do the fungal substrate recipe, now we're talking even crazier amounts. I'm going to set that as the default, by the way. We're only talking 9. And that's for 0.1 fungal substrate, which is probably worth it. I mean, 0.022 logs. Yeah, I'll definitely do that. So we're going to be flooded with pYwoji, and then that makes huge amounts of sulfuric acid basically free. And does that really unlock anything, or does it just save me effort? Because we're already making sulfuric acid decently with the other recipe. It's used in a lot of recipes, but is there anywhere where we could like use it as an extra, make more of something else? Not really. I just know we're gonna need a ton of it, and having it cheap rather than requiring this huge amounts of refined syngas, I know that will help us a lot. Because then that leaves us with refined syngas to do other things with, is kind of another way to think about it. Which right now, refined syngas isn't used in all that many things, but I I'm sure we will use it in more soon. So for now, this isn't the highest priority because I already have enough. But anyway, so to get Mark II Fuwoji, that's what we're doing first here. Unless, is science running? Science is actually running. That's such a good feeling. I really can't stress how good of a feeling it is when science is running. We're actually low on moss. Uh-oh. Oh no, it's happened. After all of my certainty, it happened. Well, I think it's impossible to really know what happened there. My guess... I don't know if I have a great guess, actually. Because the only way... I think maybe it switched over too quickly after we left it alone and there was just too much stone in the first place. Because we did the math, and when it switches over, it should only take a minute or two of production for it to use up the buffer that then gets introduced from the train side of things. So I think what we can do... I mean, the simplest way is to cut all this, move it up one tile. And now we've got this guy connecting there, this guy connecting here. And then these two need to go up and then over. And then this will require straight belt, straight belt. And I might need some other things, but we'll have to wait for the bots to do it. Oh, I guess there's no bots coming. Here. Let's introduce bots to this area. I guess I can also help out. Here, let me make sure we got space in our inventory. Okay, so one solution that I'm fairly sure by itself would fix most of the issue is just making the chest bigger. But the reason I want to do this is to add another stack inserter. Okay, and then I need that one. I think that does it. Okay. So now stone's going into this guy, and then what we need... I guess we need these to go a little further. Is another one. Like that. Okay. So that should fix the problem, because remember, the whole issue was that when we were consuming stone, whenever we switched to the option 2 and we're consuming stone, part of the problem is that these buildings consume more stone than this stack inserter can put out, because we measured it and it's only like 12 a second, and these consume like 22 stone a second or something. Or I don't know, what's the... I have how many? I have 60. So if I did 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, I'm consuming 20 stone a second. So that means there was 8 stone a second that was getting added into these buildings from the train side, which means that we weren't using up our buffer. We were using up the buffer at 60% of the rate instead of 100% of the rate. But now it is going to be consuming only stone from the buffer. which means that as long as the buffer had enough space to fill up in the first place, it'll always have enough space for if they switch back to the channel 1 recipe. So now the only stone that should ever be in here is from the buffer, and that alone fixes the problem. I'm not really sure what happened. I feel like the old version should have worked out better, but maybe it switched over too fast. And the only way it can switch over quickly, right, is if we're out of stone, or no, we get a stone shipment, so it switches back to the number 2 recipe. Because as soon as we get stone, then we want to use it. But then, right after we get stone, and it switches over to the stone recipe, then we get enough moss, and then it says, well, we have enough moss, so now we switch off the number 2 recipe. And if it does that in short succession, we could end up with extra stone in the buffer, which is probably what happened. Can't know for sure without somehow looking into the past. Can't really know for sure, but I'm guessing that's what happened. And once they're all switched over to channel 2, or number 2, we should be getting about 20 moss a second, which should be enough for our purposes. Okay, well, that's fixed. How long was that dead? Oh, not that bad. Only about 40 minutes. Okay. About an hour, I guess, is when it started declining. So we were short about an hour of moss production. I mean, that is a lot of moss we were lacking, but at 20 a second, we'll be up here, I think, at this line. Yeah, so it should catch up pretty quick, because it looked like we were only consuming about 600 a minute. So we've got about twice the moss production we need. So it should catch up pretty quickly. Anyway, that's all I have to say about that. Let's move on to pYanodons up marking. So pYanodons Mark II. We do need to start with this recipe. And then we will need this one afterwards. So, you know what? I think I'm gonna make a Helmod space for all this, just so I can keep track of the totality of the ingredients. So let's just throw this guy in here, this one. And then I also want to look at the ingredient usages for that, and that's gonna be this. And then the ingredient usages for that, which is this. And I'll just put like one of those. And that should kind of get me a little bit of... It just shows me all the things we need. Not caring about the numbers here. So we need biomass. We need raw pYanodons. We do need pYanodons spores, which I might make on site. What if I want one of these an hour? How much would I need? And basically, I'm just seeing if the breeding recipe has anything different, and it doesn't. It's actually... Oh, well, I guess it has the biomass instead of soil. Yeah, and everything else is the same. So we'll make the soil on site. We'll need to pipe in hydrogen. We'll make the water on site. And I think we'll make the spores on site. So we really just need to ship in pYanodons. Why don't I do that? I'm just struggling to conceptualize how much we're gonna need. Let's automall our pYanodons plants. You know what? I think I want... I'm gonna take these and put them in here because they're so random. 50 planter boxes, 50 empty planter boxes. I don't remember which buildings we need those for, but I'm gonna appropriate this bottom right one for the any buildings that use animals or plants as modules. So that's gonna be Aug paddocks. That's gonna be Vrauk paddocks. I just want to make sure I don't have any of those in here. You know, all of those types of things. I could put them with the repro complexes, I guess. Maybe I'll do that. Yeah, I think I'll put all of that here. Okay, and then we're gonna do Fawoji, plantation. I'll do a couple. What do they cost again? Soil, I have soil, so we should be good on that. Okay. All right, so then we're gonna build a few of those. I'm gonna, oh, I can't move them. That's a bummer. I don't know how many I need. So I'll start with 3. Oh, I'm also gonna need, okay, good. I have channel 0 builders up there. Perfect. Okay, no reason to not use that extra space there. All right, so we're doing this one. And looking at that, we get 0.03 an hour. Ugh, 0.08 an hour. That's not enough, but they don't have the modules. Right. Okay. I'm glad I noticed that. Okay, with the modules, we're looking at about 1 an hour. Okay, that's more what we're looking for. But they're not gonna run at that rate. That would need 4.5 a minute. This automatically changes its scale to minutes and hours if the numbers are small enough, which I kind of like, but it can be a little confusing. I would actually appreciate if minutes were in a different color and hours were in a different color, because it can be confusing to be like, I need 5 soil and 4.5 Fawoji, and it's like, wait, no. I need 5 a second on soil, but only 4.5 a minute on Fawoji, you know, which is like 0.1 a second. So those are very different things. 15 a second hydrogen though. Oh, 15, that's not very much. That's only like 1 electrolyzer. So I might honestly just do that here rather than ship it in. Okay. And 0.5 a second spores. I think 1 spore collector is good for that, right? No, we need like 3 spore collectors. But I still think I'll do that locally. Maybe just long inserters. Okay. And then an electrolyzer. Let's see, put it like that. That does make 20 a second hydrogen. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so go that way. Boom, boom. That way. Water should be fine to just... You know what, I might do this. So I just do that. And then we need to import Fawoji. And then there's the soil to think about. Okay, so Fawoji. Let's see, what did we say we're going to be using? 4.5 a minute. So a stack every 10 minutes. Okay, so yeah, this is fine. Fawoji. 12 stacks. And then soil extractors. Why don't we utilize this space? Not really using it for anything. 1, 2, 3. Ah. Move those up. Oh, I'm excited about this. All right, that should be enough soil for what we need. I am gonna belt this because it's a fast enough rate that I think it'll save me some hassle. What if I go to this one? There we go. All right. And we'll probably need water for a variety of other things. So I'm just going to preemptively add more water. And then these guys will have a T-junction down, corner. Feed into that, make sure they're powered, and we're good to go on soil. And each of these is going to need 0.15 soil. No, that's not right. Each is going to need 1.67 soil. So 2 inserters from that. And then we need our requester chest for each. Provider chest for each. Ruh-roh. How did that happen? Ah, the frickin' vacuum. You know, Blueprint Shotgun does do some weird things. And it puts things on the ground and it doesn't always apparently vacuum them up perfectly. Maybe that's because I built a belt with mouse over construction. Bummer. We had even more time without our moss getting consumed. If we look at moss consumption, that's going to be a sad graph too. Yeah, you know, we need to be consuming this amount and we were consuming this amount. Yikes. It'll spike up real quick here, I think. It's going to be, yep, trains are going to be waiting for moss pretty constantly here. Good news is the trains fill quickly because it's stacks of 50, so I think that should be fine. Yeah, these trains are acting like they're stuck because they've been there for 10 minutes, but they're not. All right, so anyway, back to this. Do these guys. Connect. Now this one's different. This is like, we don't have to do a breeding program. This one is quite different. This one we actually want to have an alarm. What are they called? Speakers. I already have one on my. And we need to wire this up to give us an alert. Now it is going to make pYanodons as well. So we just need the alarm to go off if pYanodons Mark II is greater than or equal to 2. Or yeah, we'll just leave it on local sound and then right, and I don't need to search it again. I can just do that. Pipetting icons is one of the best things. Not gonna lie, it rocks. Absolutely rocks. And then we need spores. And then those are getting delivered. Not sure how they're getting delivered, not gonna lie. Like, I don't actually know if we have pYanodons getting loaded into a provider anywhere. We might have just gotten lucky with that. I think we got lucky that there just happened to be some in the network. Okay, so then we've got hydrogen. We're gonna vent this oxygen. I know that sounds dumb, but it's such a small amount. I just don't want to set up a whole train station for it. We've got soil, we've got spores, and then we need fertilizer and pYanodons, and we've got hydrogen. So fertilizer and pYanodons are the requests, and as far as the rates, 0.17 and even less than 0.17, it's like 0.01, 0.03 basically. Yeah, so we can just do fertilizer like 10 and pYanodons 5. And then we need to change all this to channel 1. Probably before we did that, but here we are. All right, and then finally, I guess these inserters don't need to be connected. because this isn't the final breeding program. This is the initial. Initial breeding, initial uplifting is different than the breeding program. Once this is done, then we need to set up the breeding program. And we can remove these forever, so I'll wait until then. Got the itch to make some storage, and I also feel like we should have some storage for ooh, those are deep sounds. That'll be storage for channel 1. Alright, that should be good for pYanodons. And we need to filter it. There we go. It's done. Fix oxide super treasure. We did that, right? Pretty sure. Let me just double check it. I think so. And we double checked the numbers even. So I think that's all good now. Seaweed stage 3. All right, so we can take that off our list. Excess bitumen to nitrogen and sulfur. We did do half of that. We did do the nitrogen part. So I could also make free sulfur, which could support our sulfur mines. At quite a bit too. I mean, how much bitumen did we make? I'm trying to remember. Yeah, like 600 a second. That's 60 sulfur a second. That's a lot of sulfur mines that we wouldn't have to run. But I do have 3 sulfur mines going. Oh, but they only go 3.5 a second. Oh, yeah, that's... okay. So bitumen is a serious sulfur alternative. I don't think it matters right now, because I'm not using all the sulfur I even have, but we do want to keep that in mind. I'll remove that for now. Well, I think I'll remember that when we need more sulfur. And that, I just think it's going to be a long time from now, because once we get the pYanodons acid gas from sulfur, we're going to need even less sulfur for a long time. So, all right, these are running now. Beautiful. Weird that this one's not getting hydrogen last. Very odd. Anyway, yeah. Here we go. So now we're just waiting for... Mark IIs. The nice thing is the logistics bots, I think, are prioritizing their closer chests to move the pYanodons back in, because we do get a 50% chance for 1 pYanodons. So it's really only consuming 1.5 pYanodons per use. That's funny. The failed attempt. All right, so what else? Do I really want to do Vraux now? Do we want to... kind of at a crossroads right now. We've got a lot of options. Do I want to work on Seaweed Mark III? I think I do. So we need tailings and saline water. Oh, I also made a mistake. I was just reminded. Someone left a comment about my muddy sludge at the sand was filtered for tailings. And you are so correct. Thank you for that. Whoever left that comment, you are a gem. Muddy sludge needs to actually be the fluid. There we go. There we go. Thank you for that. Okay. And then the other thing, I feel embarrassed about this. So with sand, there are multiple ways to get it. And I forgot about soil sorting. I don't know why. Rather than soil washing, there's soil sorting. So if we look real quick at Where's one that I can probably delete anyway? I don't actually know. This one. I don't care about this one. So, if we look in here at sand recipes, and we can get it from soil washing or soil sorting. And you can see that for an output of a belt of sand, we need 6 and 22.5, versus here for a belt of sand, we only need 3.5 and 11.5. So I don't know how that escaped my view. It's weirdly enough the same amount of power though, because the solid separators actually take a lot of power compared to washers. So you're really just picking your poison. You do use half the soil sorters though, so it's a lot smaller. Washers and separators are about the same size, and 4 versus 6 isn't that different here. It's a little bit less. But this gets us coarse fraction and limestone and some biomass instead of muddy sludge. So I just want to remember that for future sand production. I have 2 ways to produce it from nothing. It's not just soil washing. For whatever reason, that's the only one that existed in my brain, and that's just not correct. That's not the only choice. Do I want to set up seaweed Mark 3 stage 3? I do. So this needs tailings, and this needs saline water, and I don't know the rates, so I don't even know. Do I want 2 of these? Do I need 4 of these? Do I need 1 million of these? Guess we'll find out. All these trees are gonna get in my way, so let's ditch these. I don't know. Let's just keep going in this area. Maybe I'll do 4 across. Let's start with 2 though. So if I have 2 of these with Mark II modules, what am I looking at for the rate there? Whoa, that's insane. 0.15 a second? Oh right, this is not a random chance recipe. Right. I think I only need 1 of these then. 4 a minute is more than enough. You know, per hour, that's over 200. Okay. I don't even know if I could keep up with the 0.38 a second on that anyway. Yeah, not really. Okay, so that's all good then. Fluids, saline, and tailings will have to go on some separate journeys here. To the right. Here. I'll actually turn the corner here. Go up. And then which one's on the bottom? The bottom one is saline, which is this one. Wait, but the bottom one is the left one. I don't know if that's normally how I turn corners. Then tailings are gonna be here. Okay, and then we need to actually request tailings. 35,000. Saline water. 35,000. Those should be on the way momentarily. And then, yeah, other than that, we just need requester, provider. And this one will be on channel 0. We'll just go directly into a channel 0 provider. Because there's no byproducts here. It just makes straight up seaweed Mark III, nothing else to worry about. The only time we'll need those on channel 1 again would be when we do Mark IV, which is a long time from now, I presume. Stage 5? Oh, it just unlocks one more recipe. But yeah, it's py3 science, which is forever away. Okay, so I think that's it. We are going to need to manually place the Mark II modules there ourselves, because we don't have Mark II modules in channel 0 logistics. I could change this to channel 1 to get the bots to deliver it once it's delivered, but we've seen that that can cause crashes. If I do copy-paste modules, probably wouldn't crash otherwise, but just to be safe, we'll ride a train over there. I could work on SAP, stage 2 and 3. That could be useful. There's so many things I want to work on. I feel like this is kind of what we're going to do for a while. Is uplifting of things, especially getting the ones that only have a chance, getting those started. That's good. Like the pYanodons. Do we have any yet? None yet. We'll have to keep track. You know what? I'm gonna start keeping track. If anyone, this is called our luck tracker. I'll put it in all caps because you guys can come up with an acronym that stands for. So our luck tracker is going to have a note where we're going to track how many products it took, and then next to that we can put our percentile that we're in. So like, you know, we can do like Arcad Queen, you know, 582 products, you know, or 582 crafts, and then we can put like 7th percentile. And that way we can start to accumulate. I would love a mod for this, for Pi. It's such a silly mod, it would probably be way more work than it's worth. But this idea that it would track how many crafts were attempted of that recipe versus how many successes you had. And then it would measure your percentile. What would be, but it would need to stop measuring once you have enough to reproduce, but then you would need a button, because some of the reproductions, like, you know, like once we have 2 pYanodons Mark II, we're technically done, right? But sometimes then the reproduction from there only has a chance to succeed. Like the Vrauk Mark II only had a 95% chance to succeed. So there is a 5% chance that once you have your first 2 Vrauk Mark IIs, you fail to reproduce them and you need to get 2 more. Or was it just 1 more? I can't remember. But either way, you would need a manual override button on the luck tracker to say like, hey, I actually failed and I need to run more, so go back to measuring how many crafts I do for the Vrauk Mark. You know, you guys get what I'm saying, I think. Maybe you don't. Maybe I'm being confusing. Oops. But all that to be said, it would be such a silly mod that has like no real purpose other than just utter silliness. Okay, so then we need to request, I guess, just everything. Request enough for 2 crafts. What's the craft time on this? 25 seconds? Request enough for 4 crafts. And I'll leave that one on channel 1. And they stack to 50, so that's enough for 500. That feels like too much, right? That's enough for 50 seaweed plantations. No, I think I'm comfortable with that. The reason is because, A, we might actually have 50 seaweed plantations needing to run at full time at some point. Like, I already have 50. I don't think we'll need 50. I have 64, actually. I don't think we'll need 64 with the Mark III modules, but we're also going to need Mark IV modules someday, so it's a nice stockpile for then. Now what I could do is actually slow this building down by removing modules. Now there's a thought. Because if I don't want to consume too much molybdenum trioxide, I could slow this whole thing down if I really wanted to. How much moly am I making? I'm making 1 moly a second, which is 3.3 mo03 or mu3, as I could call it. And we only need 0.76 mu3, so we're actually fine on mu3. I think we can actually run this at full speed with what our base can provide. So now we're just waiting for what? The connections? Yep, there we go. Our first seaweed Mark III. Beautiful. Love to see it. I mean, it's crazy. We barely have any Mark IIs and we're already making a Mark III. That feels nice. That feels nice. This is probably the first Mark III that most people get. Because there's not that or SAP. I don't think there's many other Mark IIIs that even exist in this level of science. We've queued this up, right? Yeah, Ralasia stage 2 is next. After SAP stage 3, then Tufra. Yeah, we're gonna be grateful. This is a Zen Garden part, right? Like, we're gonna be grateful that we're doing this work now. The sooner we do this, the more we can accurately measure, like, how expensive things are, right? Because this basically makes seaweed a third the cost. Because the cost of seaweed right now is just the space and electricity that we're using. And so by replacing the modules with tier 3 modules, it's gonna make roughly 3 times as much seaweed for the exact same power cost, and it'll be triple the water, but the water's free. And so we don't really have to worry about that. Though I will preemptively prepare for the water being tripled in requirement. So anyway, I just think that's a cool thing, because now seaweed is cheaper, which means agar is cheaper, right? And the steam is still, you know, not free. But how's power doing, by the way? Oh wow, power's looking great. I wonder why that is. We're only using 100 megawatts, and our tidal power plants are killing it. 426 megawatts now. See, I knew this would pay off. It's a long-term thing, but 400 megawatts for free is a pretty huge gain, and we can keep adding more. Like, why don't we add? In fact, why don't we add 10 more? Let's see. Is that gonna work? No, that thing's doing weirdnesses. Didn't like the whatchamacallit. Whatever that material was, it didn't feel like it could water fill over it. Alright, build that there. Okay. Alright, so there's 10 more. Let our base do some work. And okay, so in terms of up marking, do I want to work on Moondrop? That just needs soil fertilizer and Moondrop, so and hydrogen. We've already got all that. That's easy peasy. So let's get that started. We've even got hydrogen already. I'm gonna build it up here just in case we want to use that space for pYanodons later. Let's see, Moondrop greenhouse. I don't know how many we need rolling the dice here. This is another 0.5. Oh, that's annoying. We need a space there. Moondrop greenhouses are missing from Automall. And the reason I'm only adding 1 into the list, by the way, is because I don't mind even if I need 40 greenhouses later, that'll just turn it into a longer construction project, but it'll still probably get done in like an hour. And we're playing on big scales here, so I'm just not worried about that. Oh, I guess I do need moondrop seeds. Are those provided in our network? Oh, ashes filtered. Okay, we're gonna have to type seed into this. No, we don't have moondrop seeds. We should be able to make those on site pretty easily with just one bot nurse, though. And we'll ship in the moondrops. Moondrops. I don't know what the rates are here. How bad are the rates? Okay, so the rates here, we're looking at 1.2 an hour. That's plenty, I think. How many do we need to start up the new process, though, I guess? So we need 4. And we get a guaranteed 2 back and a guaranteed 2 seeds. But then how many seeds do we need? We need 5 seeds. So that means we need 5 seeds to get 5. Which then 5 seeds to get 5. So basically, okay, sorry. My brain's getting stuck with all these numbers. So we consume 2 Moondrop Mark II to create 2... Oh, no, sorry, there's a 50% for 2. So to create 3. So we consume 2 to create 3 on average. And this consumes 5 to make 5, so that's just a perfect loop. So that actually means we might... If we have 8 Moondrop Mark IIs, that still might not be enough, because we might have failed the 50% roll twice. There's a 1/4 chance of that happening, which is basically 100% when you factor in Murphy's Law. So that means that we will need 12 Moondrop Mark IIs to get a guaranteed roll of seeds. So let's say we fail all 3 times. That leaves us with 6 Moondrop Seeds Mark II. Then we go back to having 5 more Moondrop Mark IIs, which gives us 1 more roll here. Yeah, there's a good chance of failure here. I might do 3 buildings. 1.2 an hour might not be enough. I don't want this... I kind of want to shoot for like 10 hours or less for success. But God, those require 6 soil a second already? Sheesh. These require a lot of soil. And 0.67 Moondrop Seeds. Okay, that's doable, but that's a decent amount. 3.5 Moondrop. What's our Moondrop output? 1.37. Okay. Yeah, I'll go to 3, and then I'll call it at 3. I don't think we can even support much more than 3. So we'll do that. Requester, provider. All right, and then the water. Do one of these guys. Water's hooked up. What do we need for nitrogen? Another 20. Turns out I'm gonna need a few more of these. I'll just add 2 for now. That's supposed to be a 3-way. Oh, it is. I just pointed it wrong. Alright. And then nitrogen, nitrogen, nitrogen. Now I'm starting to feel that getting rid of this oxygen will actually be useful. Now that I've got 3 generators potentially going. So now we're gonna add in an F trasher. Look at that, perfect. Ooh, but what if we get more fluids here later? Should I add my new... F super trasher? It's a lot bigger, but is it that much bigger? Because I could end up with muddy sludge. Yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna bite the bullet and go for it. I think I'll be thankful. And we're gonna do oxygen here. Oxygen's on channel 1. Okay. I'll just bring that out. Okay, so we've got this. I'm gonna leave those extendable or extensible. Are those the same word? Is extendable is a word, right? I think it is. Okay, and then we are still going to need an overflow for that. Alright. So that way we're collecting the free oxygen, and the hydrogen needs a go up situation here. Do that. Boom. 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 Alright, that's done. Requester, provider. Alright. We need to request moondrops. What was our consumption rate? 0.15 a second. So per minute, we're talking 15, a little less than 15 a minute. I think I can still go with the 10 stacker, or should we go with the 20 stacker? I'll still go with the 10 stacker. No, this is gonna run for like 10 hours. Let's do the 20 stacker. So 22 stacks. Gives us some lead time. Grab that moondrop signal, put it in there. Let's preemptively make sure those aren't too full. Alright, so moondrop should arrive. Soil. I'm thinking I could even... I don't normally do this, but this feels like a good time to make use of all of the available space. You know, we could even do something like this. Yeah, something like that. And then the water. Power. Alright, I don't actually know if that's enough soil still, but should get us decently going. Alright, and then we need soil to go up. Over. Each of these buildings needs 3.33. Well, they're not going to get 3.33. They're going to get 2.4. And they'll be happy about it. Okay, and then we'll be requesting fertilizer, moondrop seeds, hydrogen's hooked up, water's hooked up. Okay, I think we're good. So now, channel 1, channel 1, channel 1, channel 1. I'll just filter that on 50 moondrops to remove the soil. Okay. And then we need a speaker. Oh, I was totally thinking those wouldn't connect. What? Wait, what's going on? Oh, is this a channel 1 thing? No, it's reading the signals properly. Weird. I guess you can't hook up. Oh my gosh, but now it's connected. Oh wait, no, it's not. That's so weird. I guess a blueprinted thing cannot be connected to a different force's non-blueprinted thing. I think that's exactly what just happened there. Okay. And because we have a few construction, is that where these came from? No, these are on channel 0. Okay, so I need to manually add those 14 then. Wish there was a way to, when the ingredient was the same as the module, to fill it properly all at once. I don't think there is. Anyway, these don't have power, so that's gonna be a problem. Get that fixed. These are supposed to be channel 1. Finally, we're waiting for the speaker to show up still. That's gonna take a minute. But that should get us Moondrop stage 2, and we probably need to call it an episode after that. Science has stopped. What's the current hang up? Should always check, make sure it's nothing new. Current hang up is glassware. Again. Oh, we're out of hot air. But my hot air alarm's not going off, so I broke something. Yeah, we're not out of hot air. So why are we out of hot air? We're out of hot air, but we're not out of hot air. That's a new one. I broke something. Where did it break down? So this is the hot air, and it's connected to over here. Oh my gosh. Wait, what? Did I just forget to... Did I not place that one? Oh man. Because I remember I moved this over and I just didn't finish connecting it? I wonder if I accidentally undid the blueprint. Because I remember doing this. This was just 2 episodes ago or whatever when I made the boron trioxide. Hard to tell for sure when it died. Okay, well, a bot will go fix that. Who knows where that bot is. I don't see one. Is it you? I think he's the one that's going. You the man. Alright, he won't take long. Alright, so glass, which was already problematic, has now become problematic again for an hour. Oh gosh. Well, that's boron trioxide. Okay, why is that showing up when I'm on glass with a search term? Oh, glass is in the description. Funny. What? No, weird. Yep, glassware's been dead for an hour plus. Cool. Cool. Well, at least that's fixed. This is why you always check on science. It's dead for different reasons at different times. Alright, we're back up and running. Goodness. Glass is not something we can afford to have shut down. Okay, so how are these running? Are these going? Looks like they're going now. Okay, and now I should be able to connect this. Yeah, that's so weird that you can't connect it until it's built. Okay, so that greater than or equal to... Wait, really? Oh, or equal to. 5. Alright. And again, because the moondrops are there, those should get used first. Same with the moondrops that end up in here. So, we should be fine on that. Overall output here is 1.5, but also another 0.5. So we actually need another inserter here. And we need more cement extractors. Oh, well, 2 of them weren't running, so there's part of the problem. And then definitely get more running here. Because I bet we're going to need soil for other things too. So we'll just get a soil belt going. Recipe, power. Okay. That should do it. And yeah, up marking for moondrops is now done. And to get to a sustainable place, I mean, technically every amount has a chance of failure. Just like Arcad Queens, like you never are totally safe with these because the amount of seeds that is produced in this recipe isn't enough to sustain. No, it is. Never mind. I'm sorry. This is sustainable. Because you spend... If you fail every time, you're breaking even. You're consuming 2 Mark IIs to make 2 Mark II seeds. And then 2 Mark II seeds will make 2 Mark II moondrops. Okay, so I'm fine. So then the only thing is we need 5 to get started, which means I need a minimum of 12 Mark IIs. No, sorry, but I get 2 back. I wasn't factoring that in. So if I have 6 Mark IIs, then I can roll twice already, and that might be enough to get me to succeed here if we succeed once. So I need 6 Mark IIs if I succeed the 3/4 roll. But if I fail this twice, then I'll need 8 Mark IIs. But then, at that point, I'm guaranteed to have a loop running. Because at 8 Mark IIs, I can run this 3 times. I have 6 seeds now, if I failed every time. And those 6 seeds can make 5 more. And I had 2 left over, so now I have 7. Yeah, okay, so I think I can go infinite once I have 8 for sure. And 6, so I'll put this on 6. So once I'm at 6, I should start rolling. And we have a 3/4 chance for that to be all we need. And then a 1/4 chance that we end up needing more. Cool. Okay, have we gotten any pYanodons Mark IIs yet? Doesn't look like it. We're at 100 products. Remember, average is 200 products. But it certainly might take more. Alright, cool. How are the logistics bots doing? We're using about 40 of them constantly, so not great. But we're gonna call that an episode, I think. So, get a little screenshot here, and as always, thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think down in the comments, and I'll see you all in the next one.